Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it and we'll talk about it inside.
It's me, Tom from iScrap. What's up, guys? Today is August 3rd, 2022. Hanging out with my new background here, a little office work today. Just looking at these markets, trying to figure out what's going on. I was writing a report this week. I was reading Mark's report, and I was like, you know what? I'm not just going to do the same things that we do every single week. I think I wrote in the report, we've been doing this 5, 7, 10 years, something crazy. And we've been so excited to have so many people viewing and asking questions. And what I've really enjoyed are all the people that have done negative reviews and things that they don't like about us. Because every time that we get those little pieces of information, it gives us the ability to learn about how to do things better, how to feed you more information, where the markets are going. And listen, you want truth and honesty? I'll give it to you. I think that the markets are, I still think they're pretty good. And I think that too many people are really complaining way too much about prices. You know, we had such a crazy year in 2021 with these prices going up so high that we forgot what it was like to have prices for copper that started with the number two. You had prices that were $3 and above for all of 2021, except for maybe a couple of weeks or maybe a month at most. And that really made it so people became a little calloused to markets decreasing, which is obviously what we're seeing happen now. Now, what do I think is going to happen? Well, let me give you the perspective from a scrapyard owner's point of view, and maybe that will give you a better idea. Generally, scrapyard owners try to be really aggressive with their prices. At least most of my friends across the country are. They try to push prices out there. They like to have a healthy profit margin that covers obviously their overhead and more. But I think that scrapyard owners are getting hit a lot of different ways right now, and it isn't just with the fuel costs. Our weekly energy economist Mark Champagne, I was reading his report and he was talking about how gas and diesel prices have gone down again and all these different things, but that doesn't affect the day-to-day life of these scrapyards as much as you think. We're sucking in thousands of gallons of diesel every week, and with diesel prices remaining so high, scrapyards are really getting hit. And I'm not asking anyone to feel bad for scrapyards, but I think it's interesting to look at it from a different perspective, because just to say, oh, copper prices are up 15 cents, that's super important. But I think what you have to look at is these prices still are really strong. And a lot of people may think that, oh, maybe we're going to readjust. Maybe the scrap yards are trying to make more profit right now. Normally, I would say scrap yards are aggressively consistent, right? They want to have consistent prices. They want to be aggressive with their prices overall, so they continue to keep their customers, continue to get materials in. Right now, I think that scrap yards are passively consistent. I don't think that we're trying to have the absolute bare minimum of profit margins that we can to cover operating and everything else, because it's just been such a different few months. The last 3 months has really thrown everyone for a loop. I know a lot of people that have lost millions of dollars on material and inventory, and I'm not asking you to feel bad for anyone. But I think that when things happen and the rug kind of gets pulled out from underneath your feet so quickly, it takes a little while to adjust. And that's kind of what we've seen with the copper prices. I mean, copper prices, we saw the carpet really pulled right out from underneath very, very quickly. And that's why so many people got so upset. And having those prices being so much less than they were, people got more and more upset, especially as they visited the scrap yards and got those tickets in their hands for the first time. I think it was a bit of a shell shock. And having it be a bit of a shell shock made it so people were upset for a little while. And then look at the steel markets. I mean, we saw light iron prices 250 bucks a ton. I'm paying $80 a ton at my scrapyard today, and people are complaining. And I get it. I would complain too. Hey, I'm complaining, but no one's listening. I'm just yelling in my own four walls here. So as scrappers, when you're looking at these markets and trying to learn about them, I think that overall we're really going to see a lot of declining markets for the rest of the year. I think that this Ukraine Russia thing, if forget about the conflict, which is horrible itself, the Russian economy produces so much metal like palladium and nickel and even copper that you're taking a lot of that out of the circulation, and that's going to hurt the markets overall. I mean, catalytic converter prices, while they're up, and we I think we have a national average of close to $160 again. It was closer to 140. The team over rrcats.com is quoting people all the time, and when I talk to the guys, they're saying how people are like, "Oh, why are the prices so low?" Well, things go up and things go down. People never complained 2.5 years ago when gas prices were $2. What'd you do? You got used to it. You didn't worry about it. You only complain when things go the opposite that you want them to do. If housing prices go down, you're going to be happy if you're a buyer and upset if you're a seller. And that's kind of what's happening in the scrap world, except when the markets go down, the only thing that happens to scrappers is you make less money. Scrap yard owners also make less money because those profit margins, you can't keep them consistent. I know a guy in the Midwest, out in Wisconsin, his average margin, gross margin is like 60 or $70 a ton. Well, if steel prices are 120 bucks and his margin before all the operating costs are removed is 60 bucks, then what's he going to pay? $60 at the door? And you say $60 a ton, that's so much money. He should be able to do just fine. 3 cents a pound, if you're averaging 200,000 pounds, 300,000 pounds a week, six to $9,000 might not cover the fuel bill to run the machines, the loaders, the trucks, right? And think about your own car. When you were going out last year in the early 2021, right? Gas was still in the $2.50 range. You could drive around for hours and not worry about burning extra fuel because whatever steel you were picking up, you were making that much more money. And that's why we've said for 10 years plus, get it in, get it out, put the money in your pocket, and continue to move. So when I see things like the clean energy and other things like that are going on, it just kind of shuffles you around a lot, and it kind of it's a really odd time period. Let's go with that. This summer 2022 is a super odd time period. I'm hoping that it isn't mimicked again, but of course, history repeats itself, and we are going to see some of these problems again. So let's try to pull some positive spins out of things. Green energy. All right. Well, hey, listen, whether you like green energy, clean energy, electric vehicles, or not, it doesn't really matter. Your opinion is completely true. It's your opinion, but things are happening without you or I going against them. Windmills, for instance. I've been flying all over the country recently. One of the most interesting things that I've been watching is when I look down, I always look at big waterways and I look at where the old coal operating power plants are. In those vicinities, you're now seeing hundreds of windmills. These windmills, these wind turbines, whatever you want to call them. What does that mean? That means that you need thousands of pounds of aluminum, thousands of pounds of steel, thousands of miles of infrastructure, copper wiring infrastructure, and then you need batteries. So that means that while we might be diverting away from one type of energy, we're still needing a lot of these commodities to be able to create more wind turbines and more clean energy and use more of these commodities. So, it's still out there in a very strong way. It's just a different way to look at things. So you look at these wind turbine farms across the country that have hundreds of units. What happens to these? The steel bearings go bad. What does that mean? They need to be recycled. The copper wire could have faults. It needs to be recycled. And while this may not affect your day-to-day scrapping because you're not out there, scrapping wind turbines, one thing that you might be scrapping is copper, aluminum, and steel, which will be used to go back into the wind turbines. And I think over the next few years, especially with this big clean energy push that the Biden administration is pushing, that we're going to see a lot of that going upward. I mean, look at this, another $377 billion, proposal. These numbers sound. You remember playing Monopoly as a kid, and like Park Place was $1,000 or something if you landed on it for rent. Oh my God, $1,000. That's what some of these numbers sound like to me, right? When I first remember seeing like 1,000, something costs $1,000, like, oh my gosh, how is that 1,000? How am I ever going to buy something like that? And now you're seeing $377 billion proposals for clean energy. Well, whether you like it or not, it's coming, and it is going to use commodities, and it's going to use metal, and that is what we're here for, to be able to create those things and continue moving them forward. So if you're looking to learn more about some of the clean energy pushes, some of the energy information that our economist Mark is touching, you could always check out the blog through the app, iScrap app itself, through our website. I mean, I'm not going to be streaming. It won't be as smooth here, but just by taking it, oh, I disappeared. I guess it's not going to work. I'll hold it close to my chest here. It is there, I promise. But by just clicking on it, you're going to be able to go right into the homepage. You're going to be able to check out some of the market news, read some of these things. Don't just listen to these things. By clicking in the app, going on the website, and reading these blogs that we write every week, these market reports, these are real pieces of information that are pulled from all over the spectrum to give you a better idea on where the markets are going. So listen, this week is a different week. We just didn't want to go through every single tier. Copper prices are up, steel prices are down, stainless prices are down, catalytic converter prices are up. But if you want more information by clicking through the app, going on the website, you can check on some of these things. We continue to recommend selling most metals other than some stainless and heavy steels, but overall the markets are exactly what they are. These shouldn't be shocks to you anymore. If you're looking for more information, post your prices. I mean, guys, post your prices. It's so easy. Take your phone, type in a couple of prices that you got paid this week. That helps the overall average become more aligned where the markets are. That helps us better predict where the markets are going and gives you a better idea overall. But check out our weekly report. A lot of cool information talking about how wind turbines are made, what percentage of materials are used, whether copper, steel, anything else. It just kind of gives you a different perspective, talks about some of the gas prices. And listen, overall, we're really in a good spot in the market. So, hey, listen, this is Tom from iScrap. Today's August 3rd, 2022. Thank you for tuning in, Scrappers. You are the best. We appreciate you tuning in. Check out our blog through the app. Till next week, I'll scrap you later.
Thanks for watching this video. If you want to and you haven't already, please subscribe below for more videos or become a Patreon supporter to get more information on Scrap Today.